Okay, welcome to the Rocket Launcher podcast. This is episode 183. I am your host, Supreme King. Join with me, as always, is my co-host, and his name is...
It's your guy Amazes.
Okay, so we had another very hot week, but another week to, I guess, digest our overall gaming news a little bit, and it seems like we could jump right into it. It seems like Sony is not budging at all. It seems like they are standing 10 toes down. They're calling everybody's bluff, or they're just kind of ignoring it and saying we said what we said and we're just moving forward. That's basically what it seems like. But on top of that, they have some more information, which I think this is more of your topic, but I guess to add on to that, there's been more rumors, and it's not an official announcement, but we know they want to raise the price of PS Plus, but then within it, some dynamic pricing. Is that my understanding?
Oh yeah, so they want to plan on doing the dynamic pricing. We're living in a Black Mirror world. Because stores are doing this as well, but they're trying to do dynamic pricing. So they've already have instances of it where somebody showed in the same household a specific game was like 20% cheaper on one, like the wife's PlayStation Network account, but was normal price for the husband's PlayStation because they just assumed she would be more likely to play it. But it can also go the other way where it's like they're more likely to buy Call of Duty at full price, so it's just not going to go on sale for them. Like, that's how they're doing the dynamic pricing now. But then there's also another issue. I don't know if you heard about what they're rolling out in Latin America, but it's starting August 20th, basically, is everything was listed as a flat US dollar price in all of their stuff. And then, like, whatever normal conversion rates was going on in the world determines how much people paid. To a degree, but they decided to stop doing that. So now every price is going to be within that region's currency. The issue with that is they're using a flat currency rate, like conversion rate, which is often much more expensive than the actual conversion rate. So I was trying to look into this, but basically, for example, for pesos, like the Mexican dollar, they're using like almost like a 16% or something like that, like conversion rate, where basically rather than just going by whatever dynamic pricing where it's like it costs 70 US dollars, so they mark it to whatever the equivalency pesos for 70 US dollars is. And instead, because of some weird conversion thing that they're doing, and it's making it more expensive, a $70 game here is now going to be the equivalent to $81 there. So it's just now going to be in pesos instead of US dollar, but if you convert what they're going to have to pay now, it converts to 81 US dollars, where for us it would be a $70 game. And keep in mind, if everything's going digital, that means you can't even go, well, I'm just going to go to the store and buy it, because now it's just, this is the price that you get. And they're rolling that out in several of the Latin American places.
Well, didn't they say you can get the digital code in a retail store or something like that?
For some of the things, but that's like Grand Theft Auto. I don't know if that's going to be permanent for every game.
Nah, it would be sounds like they're the biggest ones.
Yeah, I think everything else is just you buy it off of the store. But then because they're doing region locked stuff, they can just be like, this game ain't going to go on sale in like this region in like Mexico or something like that. Or something where it's like a hot commodity over here. Like, for example, they know, like for us, NBA 2K and Madden are like big deals. But they could do like over in Germany or Mexico, they could just be like, well, y'all love FIFA, so FIFA cost full price or even more because you're going to buy it because that's your main thing. But because the U.S. isn't really into FIFA, but some of them are starting to get into soccer because of the World Series and the U.S. doing relatively well, now it's like, well, since you're kind of liking it, we'll give you a sale. And that's it. But so there's going to be a lot of region locked stuff. And like, as you see there with the dynamic pricing, they're even doing household related stuff. So if the husband constantly plays sports games and the wife doesn't, if the wife wanted to try it, it's like, nah, you still got to pay full price. We're not giving you this sale.
I mean, I guess they can try it. At the end of the day, it's still not going to work. It's a little bit funny to me. I think I remember watching some videos where people were talking about like, why did the acquisitions fail, or why did this company fail or that company fail? And the thing about it is, the problem wasn't the acquisitions. The problem is their expectation of the type of profit that they think they're supposed to receive or what they're going to receive, and they're just not going to get it.
Yep.
That's the thing.
One other thing to consider too, that I think why all of this is a bad move. If you have to buy things through the PlayStation Store, that means you need a PlayStation Network account. And though this doesn't affect us, there is still about 130 countries that just cannot access PlayStation Network.
Right.
It's just not available for them. So if they bought, let's say they bought a PS5, right? They buy games like by disc, but then they just can't log on. So everything they buy is like single player, offline, whatever. Once the store goes all digital, they can't get anything anymore. Like they're just locked out now, like completely of everything new, because they can't have a PlayStation Network account, or everything's tied to region stuff. So they need to have that what's that called? The VPN going strong, and hopefully they have a strong enough VPN. And we've mentioned before, again, even though it doesn't necessarily apply directly to us, places that have bad internet.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, well, there goes that. Matter of fact, a buddy of mine, a while ago, before he like moved and everything, the location that they lived at was relatively close-ish to like farm, like mini farm, not like your major, like you're gonna see cows and stuff like that, but there might be like a horse here and there. Like it was like small kind of farmland. Barely a phone signal over there. Like enough to make like some calls that it might drop, but like if I send a text, I have to be at like a specific part of the house. Right? It was like just bad location. But because of that, it means also internet isn't always the strongest. So it'll take forever to download a game and things like that. But like playing online was going to be horrible. You're going to be like glitching and lagging and everything. No, because then they were very limited in what internet that they could even get over there. Because certain things would be like, we just don't put things in this specific area. And that does happen. And this is still in a relatively, major state and stuff. So like it's... Like, there's locations throughout the U.S. that just can't get a strong internet signal, and they're just going to be stuck as well.
I mean, I can't get a good internet signal, and I'm supposed to be able to. Sometimes I just can't.
Yeah. Or what about when internet just goes out? Remember, I've been in places where the internet goes out because of the heat. Like, it's just hot, and then things just stop working for zero reason, or power goes out, like...
My job, funny enough, because of the heat, we had power outages, and even as a side note, I remember like when that happened, like we had a bunch of people have like almost like a standing ovation kind of thing, which ticked off some of my bosses. but like, yeah, the heat could just go out on regular places. I think one thing that stands out to me, because I know at one point maybe I was a little bit more naive or just not considerate of the people who were complaining about always having to have an online access or something like that. And I remember I used to say like, well, in order for you to complain about this, you have to go online to complain about it, right? But there were days, and it's happened multiple times, and it hasn't even been just because of the heat, but there were times where I was in my area over here and I would get an off day, and I would have time during my off day where I do not have to go nowhere. I'm not planning to go nowhere. And I wanted to just sit at home and play Persona 4 Golden is the one I'm going to go with, because I have that on Steam, where we're already supposed to have some form of some leverage on the PC side, right? But it had DRM in there, and it's basically saying if you don't check in with the internet once a week, then it will not play. And I'm like, here's a game that I bought. The game when I bought it was $12. It retails as $19.99. I'm like, this should not even be that significant. Y'all was already on the back end quietly working on y'all remake. And the game was mad old. It was like a port of a Vita version, right? But I can't play it if my internet goes out. And it's a game that I, quote unquote own, whatever that means. And it's my off day, and then my off day, I won't say it was ruined, but my plan to play a certain game was ruined because I just didn't have online access. Or sometimes you turn your game off abruptly. There's like, people don't realize this. Sometimes if your internet goes out and you turn your game off abruptly or something, your save doesn't actually sync the way you might think. And so it'll be there once the internet comes back. But before that, it's like it's still operating off of the save from whenever you was there before that last time. And so that happens as well. And it's just like, these are inconveniences for us, and it's because they need to either try to make a profit or try to stop somebody else from pirating that ain't got nothing to do with the DRM for me. And it's just like, I literally don't have that much time. Like, when I have time to sit, it's like, if I do one thing, that's it for that day. We gotta try again the next day, and try again the next day after that. And then lo and behold, even something like YouTube, I don't have a solo video out for years. Plenty of hot topics, but I don't have it out for years because your time is limited. It's either you talk about the game or you play the game. You know what I mean? Or you watch that show, or you go to get some food, or you go spend time with somebody. It's not you do all of those things in the same day, because you just don't have it like that. If you are an adult, that's about your business. Now, if you a bum, probably you have plenty of time. But that's just the nature of it. And so what I don't like about the gaming universe right now is that they're trying to do things to be convenient for the system and the companies at the expense of the consumer. And they assume that we're just going to bow down and just take it. And I'm just like, well, I'm just not, though. I was already thinking, like, you know what, I'm going to go and play a whole bunch of other emulated titles, because there's a bunch of stuff that I just missed that I just have at my fingertips now. And I'm setting up to do that. But a dynamic pricing, I had that experience with GameStop on their app versus their website. If I had logged out, the website was saying something completely different than what was on my actual app. And I remember just feeling disrespected a little bit. And it's also one of those things where it's like, of course you can confirm with your friends and stuff, and y'all take screenshots and stuff. It's like that. Of course it's going to get exposed immediately. It's like, what do you guys think? Like, we're not dumb. We're not born yesterday. The whole point of something...
they think we are.
Yeah, and the whole point of a price match online or something is because we compare prices, and we can see it in real time from multiple different places. And then people do have those VPNs and things to look at price charting and stuff. So it's like, they're going to still go and find the better deal. That's the nature of the beast. They're going to do it. And on top of that, you're not going to lock people into your ecosystem, because if we're done with this part, I can go into the next thing, which is basically PlayStation's platform is literally being emulated by the second. Like, already. And they came out of nowhere, and it's almost like this is a top mission, because they left that PS4 emulator alone for a while. Everything was already kind of going into to PC. But then they kind of reversed course and they still left it alone. But now you're talking about trying to force people into an ecosystem. And then the response is, well, we'll get this PS5 emulator up overnight, and we're already booting to the loading screens of the beginning of certain games and stuff. And it's only a matter of time before it goes from that to this is semi-playable but it crashes, to it's semi-playable but there's a lower frame rate, to it's playable, to it's fully optimized for PC, and it ain't gonna take that long. Because if you look at they've completely pissed off a lot of people across the internet, where there are plenty of software developers who don't even do gaming. They software develop for a lot of other companies, and computer engineering and software engineering and all of that stuff. And these guys are going to come together real fast, and they're going to have we talk about these companies who have developers that they fire and stuff, and it'll be 100 people here and there and 1,000 people here and there. It's like, when you think about the world though, it's like there's no development team that's bigger than the worldwide internet that's doing this for free. And you got to also think, I'm pretty sure for a company like Microsoft, for example, they had to separate themselves from over 3,200 employees, right? You got to think from the human psyche. There's got to be about a fourth of them that want some form of revenge.
Yep.
And all these other companies that fired all these people, and it was embarrassing a little bit to me to see them go on award shows and then kind of parade around with it and stuff. To an extent, because I don't think anybody really talked about it from that perspective. There's a few of them that probably have some form of code that they are using, because these emulators don't just jump up overnight. A piece of code is being leaked here and there, and it's coming from these people who were fired, these people who were done wrong, who did their job correctly, who showed up every day. And they were told, that's it, we're packing it up, we're turning the lights off. Those people keep codes. When you have these work from home people and stuff, it don't matter how much you lock these computers down, they'll have that code. Yep. And so that it makes perfect sense for some of these emulators to get as far as they have this early. Some of those people are in-house. Some of those people probably still in the building. Probably. So it is what it is. When you poke the bear, they poke the bear, and the bear is now awake. and
let's be real as well. They can apologize if they chose, they're doubling down and just kind of moving forward. But if they did just try to switch everything around and go, our bad, it's a little too late now. This is already in motion. I don't think there's it at this point. Now they might as well double down, because it's not going to undo what's been happening. They've poked that bear. It's way too late.
There's a lot of people who are doing it there are some who's doing it for educational purposes. There's some who's doing it to test their skill. There are some who are doing it for game preservation. Some who have this thought process that they're saving the world. Some of them who have revenge. Some of them who are just there for the ride. I mean, it's whatever their motive is. They're all over the world, and they're working to do this now. And they'll publish certain things little by little. And, before you know it, you got to think Activision was a $70 billion purchase, right? And part of the reason the industry is as crazy as it is because everybody thought they was going to make that money back almost immediately. But the amount of employees there is nothing in the size of the World Wide Web, the deep web, the open web. Everybody who's just coming together to do these things, the people who create mods, the people who just develop just for the heck of it. There's a story that's not really a big story to me, but I could just say it here. Mario Kart for the Wii has now been cracked open to be on PC, where you don't even need the emulator. It's just a full-blown PC game now. And apparently you can play it online with whoever, and you can crank it up to 4K and whatever frame rate your PC can allow. They created a settings for it and everything. And it's not even built to be on the PC like that. It was a Wii game, generations ago, before, the Mario game that we have now. but it's a part of the internet, and there's nothing anybody can do about it at this point. And so, like, and it's that's also so random too. It's just like somebody just wanted that, and so now it just happened, and then that's what's gonna happen.
But it
with
might
every
have
game.
also even been a case of let's test something, and who knows? I don't know coding, but maybe that was an easier or harder one. So yeah, it could have been like, let's see if we can get Wii working correctly, and they did that one, and it could have been if we could do this one, we could do the rest. Like it'll be much easier. So, but it is a very random one. But at this point, go for it.
The Dolphin emulator was pretty much almost perfected on the internet, where all the main games you wanted to play from the GameCube era, the Wii era, was already cracked open as is. But the way that this is going is that was within the emulator. This Mario game is without the emulator, which
Crazy.
means it's literally just as is on PC, where you just playing at will, no
Which
bottlenecks.
means more things may be on their way.
Yeah, and so, and that's the thing too, because we have been moving towards this future at one point where it was like, oh, having a specific game system won't matter and blah blah blah, and then they almost just kind of course corrected or made a 180 like at the last minute. But from the side of the PC, it looks like the PC is being like overlooked, and so that's where the PC just comes in and say, well, we'll figure out a way to not even have to emulate. And so, hey, that's hey, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Because
again, Dave, if you're gonna push that, you're just renting stuff, then I don't see it. If buying doesn't mean ownership, then emulating and pirating doesn't mean stealing. Like I fully support that.
Yeah, so you make a one-time payment of whatever, however expensive it would be to buy the machine, the main machine, and honestly too, the future though, like if you're able to do that, where all you're doing is just emulating, honestly, one PC tower and one PC handheld is really all you would need, and you would just be golden. You would be golden. You can dock the thing in the other room or take it on the go, and then you have that. Then you might have like a laptop or something that still does it anyway, and you'll be good to go. And all games, and I mean all games, is gonna land on the PC regardless. It just might not do it right away, but they cannot stop emulation. They can try to threaten whoever, like GitHub or whoever, but it's never gonna stop. It's literally never gonna stop. And what's a shame, it's a shame that we kind of have to resort to that, because we somehow had the culture actually paying for subscriptions and actually buying the apps and stuff, and not pirating movies and music for a little while, but now they're kind of forcing your hand a little bit. And I can't blame the people. Anybody who wants to do that, I can't blame the people.
Yeah, people will go with what's convenient without feeling like they're being screwed over, even if it does cost a little more. Like I was this way, and I know a lot of other people. It's like, I'm gonna get a few of the streaming services, whatever, because I just want to, it's just do it. I have the money for it, supporting. I could easily get this stuff any other way, but I'll do it this way. Then you start creating 10 more streaming services, split the things across them, and keep deleting things, and making it disappear. And it's like, well, then now I don't need your streaming service anymore, right? Or how many people had stuff, and they're paying, and it's like they're getting the money from a person, and then all of a sudden, because they're like, we're going to take away your ability to share it and everything because we want every single person to buy it. So now they just lost an extra person. Like, I can't think of anyone who said, oh, shoot, we can't share these anymore, and went to go buy their own. They were like, well, that's it. And then some of the people was just like, well, now I don't want this because I was barely watching it, only kept it for the other 3 people that was using it. They can't use it. I don't need it. It's gone. And then they just like left it. And it's like, yeah, we're going to do convenient stuff until it's no longer convenient. And then it's like, well, then we're done with you. I stopped watching the wrestling pay-per-views when they decided to throw everything on a ESPN app while keeping Raw on the Netflix app. And then for a while, NXT and stuff was on the Peacock app. And they were just like sweating. It's like, well, then no, you're doing too much. Like, I don't even want to watch anymore. And if I do watch it, I'm going to get it by other means. I'm not paying for the ESPN app. Just because you made bad investments doesn't mean I need to fix it for you when no one told you to do that. But this did want me to cause me. I want to give a quick shout out to GOG. They made sure you knew that their games are not DRM protected. It was saying that like when you buy it, it is yours. And they were saying if you want, and they kind of pushed this out there, you can buy the game and then buy a blank disc, copy the application on the disc, and boom, now it's a disc game. And no matter what PC you put it in, it'll read that application to turn it into the game. Instead of it being tied, because like if you do that for like Steam or Epic or the other things, it's still tied to your account name. Now, of course, with Steam, you could just give it to other people, but it's still tied to your account. But they were saying, nope, on GOG, you buy it, it's yours to do whatever you want.
Hey,
So big shout out to them.
Yeah. All right. So I actually find this a little funny. So the live action Kratos is being replaced.
It's not funny. He got hurt.
Because I honestly think that's a cop out. I don't believe that. I don't believe that part. I mean, yeah, he probably did get hurt.
He tore his bicep.
but the dude, what's his dude name? Christopher Judge. Do you remember them mentioning he couldn't even walk, and they waited? They actually paused the entire God of War 2018 for him.
Well, yeah. If you can't walk, you can't get to the studio to record.
But I'm saying, like, they paused, though. They didn't replace him, and that was 2018.
Well, no, but the difference is, I think, for Ryan Hurst and everything, if he tore his bicep, they would have to halt everything until he goes to rehab and is good enough to, like, redo all of the stuff again. And I think it's going to hold everything back far too long. Because, like, even if they hold everything for Christopher Judge, other people can record their parts. Like anything he's not a part of, they can record theirs and then just bring him in to record his stuff later, where I don't think they could necessarily, I don't know how this is going to be filmed, but I don't think they can shoot all the stuff without Ryan Hurst. And then, like, I don't know, how long does a torn bicep take to heal?
But I mean, Christopher Judge was out a year. That was what I meant, because it was a minute. But I mean, hey.
They would have to hold back 6 months. So they'd have to wait 6 months before returning to filming. And also keep in mind too, not necessarily as an excuse, but like to keep in mind also for filming for shows and movies, they have to work around every other actor's contract as well. So what that means is if they have to hold production for 6 months and one of the people in the show is like, I only have these 6 months to record because I got to go film a movie in 6 months. And they wait, and it's like now they have to wait again for this person to finish their filming on their movie in order for everything to start filming it. That's part of a issue as well. Or they're supposed to be paying these people because you're only supposed to have to work these 6 months. And then now all of a sudden, because we have to halt production, again, they have to figure out a way to either pay you, let you go, you can get out of your contract if you don't want to wait for the filming anymore. There's like a lot of issues. As a side note, for American Horror Stories next season, Ariana Grande was supposed to be in it. She was front and center in like all of the promotional art. But then it turns out for their timing for filming, she has other obligations, can't do it. They're replacing her. So it's like,
they're basically gonna restart the whole God of War thing. Don't they have to?
Whatever they were doing, yeah.
I
don't know how much they filmed though.
I felt like part of this decision also had, I think it had something to do with the internet finding out that he was the one at one point, because they didn't. He was rejected, like basically.
Could be. That could also be a thing. If the internet's already rejecting your lead actor who now has to wait for 6 months, do you keep him or do you be like, you know what? Now's our opportunity to go a different direction.
Because remember what happened with the Powerpuff Girls? They just got rid of it altogether. They were just like, oh, we ain't about to do this.
Albeit though, the Powerpuff Girls thing was extra trash. Did you see the actual trailer for it?
I ain't seen the trailer. I just seen all the screenshots of them trying to walk and run and stuff.
All right, you remember the Powerpuff Girls, right? Like the
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
premise of the show is just he made. Well, in this show, they were supposed to be like I guess college age,
Hmm.
and Bubbles was an alcoholic.
Oh my god.
Uh, Buttercup was your like super woke like college girl, probably alphabet, and then Blossom was starting a relationship with Mojo Jojo's son. So that was going to be the main premise of it is them fighting crime, but her falling for Mojo's son, and Mojo's son pretending, I guess, not to be a villain, but then revealed to be a villain or something. And also, Mojo's son was not a monkey, and I don't think Mojo was a monkey, even though he was supposed to be a monkey.
So
So
they
I
was
don't
just
know what they
doing
were
too
planning for
much.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were. That's when I saw that trailer. It was just like, yeah, there was no way this was going to be made. Like, oh boy. Oh boy.
Well, all right. I do want to mention, because we can move on from PlayStation in a second, but I did want to actually just briefly speak on my experience with the PlayStation VR 2. So I did finally put on the thing. I just want to say one thing which is kind of funny. This thing is not something or that you want to use in this type of weather. Like, I'm not going to touch it again until the weather change. I'm going to be honest.
Into constant sweat.
Yeah, but it was just before I even got going, because the second I was putting on the headset and stuff and taking it on, taking it off, putting it on, taking it off, because I had to try to do the setup with the PlayStation and everything, it was causing me to sweat, which was already annoying. But then when I finally got it going, it was okay. I played a game that was a demo of a game called Drums Rock, and it's kind of
Okay.
similar to Beat Saber. Really, really heavy metal, rock and rollish type stuff where you were basically playing with the drums and you had the sticks and everything. It took a while to get used to how to hold the do I call it Joy-Cons, or I guess controllers or whatever,
Motion controller.
motion controllers. Because if you let go of one of the buttons, it'll let go of the drumsticks, and then you just auto fail until you like grab another drumstick or something. It was fun. It was just annoying because I tried to capture the footage, and I thought I pretty sure I clicked the button that said 15 minutes. But when I came back, it was only 15 seconds, and I was just like mad because then I didn't have the footage. So I was like, well, I don't want to wait again. I'm gonna just say something because it's not. I don't want to come back to it until the weather changed, because when I was doing it, it was sweaty. You could feel the sweat on the headset a little bit, on the rubber part that's on your face a little bit.
Uh,
The thing also detects your surroundings. It has amazing eye tracking. Kind of scary how amazing that is, because I would just like twitch my eye real quick or move it back and forth to try to see if it can catch it. And it had like one of those eye test things where it can follow it, and it was following it like immediately. And I was like, man. But it basically, just to say long story short, I do still feel like the MetaQuest is a better machine. But it's still a fun machine. I do still recommend it right now. While everything else is going up, that thing is the only thing that's going down, or at least it's just hovering at $300. But it, one thing that stood out was the whole pass through with the cameras. I heard with the Steam's new headset it was similar, but for some reason the pass through cameras is completely black and white. Nothing is in color, where on the MetaQuest it's in color. And so right away it was a little jarring to see that, when I'm used to just, I wouldn't say perfect pass through, but it's regular pass through, where I could have a headset on like I'm Alpha 5 or something and be in a room cooking or making or washing dishes or something, and then there's like a big screen of YouTube or social media or something just in the air, and I can do that. Where on the PlayStation's VR, it's black and white, and I don't think I have all those apps. It was just a quick pass through camera that showed that. But the default is still your PlayStation 5 homepage within it. I think it allows it to do like a pass through where it acts as if it's the actual screen, like the monitor if you're playing a regular game. I'm assuming, I didn't really try it, but I was just looking at it because it was mirroring the same thing that would be on a regular monitor. But I don't think, or maybe it was just my machine, or maybe a fat finger something though, but the capture is not working correctly, because I know I picked 15 minutes. I saw it say 15 minutes, and that junk said 15 seconds when it was over. I was like, bro, where's my clip? I needed this clip. Drums rock was fun, but before I started the game, I told the thing I prefer to stand up instead of sitting down. But when I got into the game, maybe it's because it was a drum set and the game just has to register a certain way. It was set up where it would have worked perfectly if I was just sitting in a chair in front of it, because then the drums would be right in front of me or whatever, and every drummer is sitting down. But because I was standing up where I was, I had to kind of squat, which made it a workout in itself. So while I'm doing that, I'm squatting, and then I'm like really yanking my hands forward to really make the motion that I'm hitting the drums and hitting the cymbals and everything. Like, that was a workout in itself, and I could feel sweat flying on my arms or whatever. So I did it a few times and played through it to get the motion of it. If you follow the beat, it's not that hard, but it didn't capture the footage, unfortunately. Afterwards, it was prompting me to buy the game, but I didn't buy it. It is a $10 game if you have PS Plus, I believe. I think normal price might have been $20, but the demo of that is good enough, because it's like you just want the experience, you know. It did try to prompt me to buy Call It a Mountain, I believe, but I didn't do that either, and that's the Horizon VR game. I was just kind of testing it out. I do think I'm going to come back to it and spend some time in the MetaQuest at the same time in the fall season. The weather definitely has to change, because it don't matter what air conditioning you have. If it's humid, it's humid. And that it's just not, it's not a machine for the humid weather, really. Winter weather, absolutely. You can really warm up that way, right? But not right now. I do recommend people get it right now before somebody just decide, oh, we forgot to raise the price on that thing too. But yeah. I will say another thing that after a while it wasn't noticeable, but in the very beginning it was noticeable. That headset is still wired to the PS5. It has to be. It can't detach. Only the MetaQuest, I believe, is fully detachable right now, and then other headsets, maybe the Steam headset as well. But the MetaQuest has to be hooked up to the PS5, which causes a little bit of a strain, because you got this long cord that's just kind of, you know, tied to you, and you have to watch how you move and stuff like that. Where the MetaQuest, you're just fully moving, and if you buy that extra battery pack, you don't have to worry about losing power at all. You know, where this is, it's like, okay, you're relying on the power of the PS5 that's being, you know, plugged up already, but it's a little bit inconvenience in itself. And that's it. That's all I really want to mention on that. Any thoughts on that machine, or your thoughts real quick on the first one, or however you want to say it, I guess?
I guess it's nice that it's not increasing in price, and it seems like if you're not, I guess, going to be fully committed to VR, but something that's kind of on the side, it doesn't sound like it's a complete waste of money in this case, where I think though that was kind of almost how the first one was sort of described. Like, in a way, it's like, don't even think about this one, just go PC instead. But this one will be like, it's something minor, should be fine, so that's good.
All right. real quick, I want to mention because the stuff is on the screen. So the game that is on the screen is Power Rangers Super Legends, a Power Ranger game that is, you know, extra retro at this point on the PS2, GameCube time frame. But we're normally a gaming channel. I always like to go and touch on the Power Rangers every now and then. I'll keep it brief because it's not too much going on, but they just announced and actually fully released some more figures and Zords and other stuff. So in the US, it's in the announcement stage, and it's not actually available. But in the UK, you can buy the second season of the Playmates version of the Thunder Zords, all 6 of them, including White Tiger Zord, right away. Everything is all the Zords are still sold separately, unfortunately, for $20 each, and then the White Tiger Zord is the only one that I believe is $30. Maybe it's because it's the 6th one and we're used to it being like a specialty thing, but from the size of it, it's like right in line, the same size as all the other figures. They didn't make it like bigger or anything. I actually like how that one looks. I might actually get the Tiger Zord if once it comes to the US. But that's available. They announced the flip heads of the second season Rangers as well, which some of them look kind of hilarious, but it's the white flip head or automorphin, I guess. And then second season of the Black Ranger, the Yellow Ranger, and the Red Ranger, because if you guys remember, they replaced them in that season. So that's announced. The putty, the Lord Zed putty, I should say, and Lord Zed himself, the White Ranger Saba sword, and then I think that might be it. But all of that has been released. There has been some screenshots, or maybe it might be AI images of people showing like Ninja Zords and stuff. But right now, officially, the Thunder Zords are available there. I've seen people, I've seen videos of people kind of like transforming them and stuff, and then comparing them in size to the Legacy Zords and the original Thunder Megazords from the 90s. And this one is actually on par with the other ones as far as size. If you remember, the Dinozords that had just came out last season or last year were a little bit bigger than your normal Zord. So when they combine, they're kind of head and shoulders over everything. With the Thunder Zords, they rescaled them back. And I think while doing that, maybe it allowed them to shave off a few dollars for the cost, because the Dinozords that they were releasing on the Playmates were about $25.99 each, if I'm not mistaken. I think in some places it was $30 each, where it looks like in the UK it's £20, which is supposed to be 20 US dollars here. So it's more affordable if you want it. But for me, I'm already still holding out for the Flame Zord version, because that one's like the extra cool version, right? But I am a big fan of the Thunder Megazord itself because of the whole samurai look. I thought it was a fantastic looking Zord when I was a kid. It is still obviously the same Power Rangers over and over again, right? They don't really go past a certain season, but that's what they have. And then they also announced like, I guess, their version of collector figures as well. So they're gonna have a 3-pack come out that's surrounded around the Green Ranger shield, and everyone who held the shield in the first season, which is really just Jason, Zach, and Tommy. And so you're gonna get a 3-pack figure set where, coincidentally enough, the Green Ranger doesn't have the shield on, but the other 2 Rangers do. And so in that pack you get 2 shields, and you have to, I guess, share one of the shields around, I guess. if you want to put them on, but they'll be able to fit on all the Rangers. I can imagine they'll probably fit on other Rangers too that might come out. And then they also showed off the Zeo Rangers right away, which you would think they would do it in waves or whatever, but they kind of just showed them off where you'll get all 6 versions of the Zeo Rangers separately. And the Gold Ranger was the one that they kind of really highlighted, where he has when he takes his helmet off, he's Jason, and he has a different kind of look and everything. And all of that was just being shown off. And I think I sent you a few of those things. Do you have any thoughts on it?
I just got excited that I saw Zeo, because I've been one of the big people, complaining that like they just keep doing Mighty Morphin over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
To make a point, I saw on Reddit, somebody was talking and they said something about like Samurai, like Power Rangers Samurai really wasn't that good. It just has the nostalgia lens. And it just caught me off guard that people are saying Samurai and nostalgia like in the same sentence. But then when you think about it, Samurai was somewhere around 2010-ish, 2011. And it's just like, and I think I've mentioned before that I know some like kids, young adults and everything that I've worked with, that if Power Rangers came up, they talked about how they grew up off of Samurai and they grew up off of Megaforce and like Operation Overdrive or something like that.
You also got to remember too, like we kind of overlooked this, but as another year goes by, it gets that much older, right?
Yeah.
And then it's older and older and older. And so it does end up being retro and
so it's just like they do that, and it's just like, and like, let's face it, Disney did put in a lot of effort. I think it was Disney or Nickelodeon, whatever, same on one of them. Put in a lot of effort in advertising like Samurai. It was just they dropped the ball afterwards. But like a lot of people recognize, like there's sometimes when you look up generic like images for Power Rangers, you get Mighty Morphin and you get Samurai as like the main two for stuff. And it's like, with that said though, it's like, they stick with Mighty Morphin over and over and over. And it's just like, again, everyone who knows Mighty Morphin already got Mighty Morphin. And the rest of the people don't really care for Mighty Morphin. So many times you can
buy it too. Like when you really think about it, you had like this army of the exact same toy, like just over and over and over again.
Yeah, and like I collect the Funkos and everything, and I remember they had like the original Mighty Morphin, then they had the same Mighty Morphin but with their weapons, and then there was their same Mighty Morphin but they weren't wearing their helmets, and then it was the same Mighty Morphin but they were slightly shinier because it was supposed to be the movie one. And it was just like, that you're giving me the same Funko over and over, and then they finally just released Zeo and everything. And I wasn't expecting it. I didn't think they were going to do that many Mighty Morphins as well. I think, honestly, they only released the rest of Zeo because they decided to do a full Tommy set with all of his. And they're like, boom, here's the rest of the Zeo ones. I think Zeo Red got bought up. But yeah, it was just like there's only so many times you could do the regular just Mighty Morphins like over and over. So it's nice to see that they're branching off into Zeo, and it's like, go on and do more. I mean, I'm a little biased. My favorite season is Time Force and everything, so I would love if Time Force got a lot more stuff. And my second favorite is Jungle Fury. That's way down the line. One of the most popular Rangers is the White Dino Thunder Ranger and everything. Is like, let's see more of that and everything. I want to see more of the seasons get love instead of just Mighty Morphin, especially when a lot of the newer generation who would buy that stuff don't connect with Mighty Morphin at all.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting that they showed that Zeo right away while they were still kind of like, it seemed like the main set is still season 2. So I'm like, are you guys jumping the gun a little bit? Because you kind of skipped over. Technically, they skipped over Ninja Rangers if they were going to do it. They skipped over Ninja, like a lot of Ninja, period. So I don't know where they're going with it. But the Thunder Megazord, I do still think that helmet looks a little goofy if anybody's seen the screenshots. But it's a modern day one. If people never got it, here's a chance for you to get it. I do hope that, and this is a long shot, but they did the Ninja Rangers at one point, right? And that was a part of the movie technically. But I would like to see somebody come up with the Ninja Ranger or the Ninja Megazord from the movie. I've only seen these 3D prints. I think I showed you another 3D print that somebody had that looked really good, but there was never an official one. The main difference I've noticed is, like, obviously he's built a little different. The helmet, or the Pink Ranger Zord, is a little bit different. But I would like to see that. The Shogun Megazord for the Flame Toys version, the super version, I'm pretty sure that one's going to be dope. But I would like to see that. I don't know if they're going to ever do carrier Zords, but it would be interesting to see them do Paramimus again if they do it. But yeah, that's the Power Ranger stuff. Obviously, I'm on the same energy. I would still love to see a full-fledged video game, not just a little 2D beat 'em up, but like a full-fledged video game.
So I'm still hopeful that it could happen, solely because we know that actively Disney's rebooting the whole series, basically. So I'm hoping if they really go in on it, how like Star Wars has games and then they have the movies, if they're going to go in on it, do something and then do the video game thing with it and see like what happens based off of the new one. But I would love it to be legit RPG, like.
But here's my thing, though. We've seen other series and other games fail completely, and then they will still force another one out. And it's like, if you're gonna do all of that,
never the ones we want.
Yeah, it's like, well, this deserves it too, because there have been some games where it was just like the game absolutely failed, and then you just came out with another one, and you'd be like, why did they come out with another one? A good example of that would be the Neo series. The Neo series, people like it, but they don't consider it the top of a Souls-like game. But I remember Neo 2 completely failing, and they still popped out that Neo 3 boldly too, and put it in the same release window as before, as if they didn't learn the first time, right? And then I'm hearing there's about to be another Matrix movie, even though that last Matrix movie bombed heavily and everybody like universally hated it, including myself. And it's like, well, they're still gonna do another one. It's like, well, we kind of told you don't have to do anything else Matrix except maybe a game, but another movie, I don't know. And then we can go down the line. Call of Duty fails every other year, but they still come out with another one. So yeah, I would like to see that, basically. I do have a bone to pick with Power Rangers, though, a little bit. I don't know if you saw this part of the news, but the elephant in the room for Playmates, even though I wasn't too much invested in the Dino Megazord, if you notice, within the Dino Megazord, or the Megazord set, the first figure set, they actually skipped the Dragon Zord completely. They came out with the other 5 and then said, here's season 2, where immediately we have all 6 right away. And people were kind of assuming, because they've done this for year after year, where Dragon Zord would just get drip fed later. Even with the Flames toys, Dragon Zord was drip fed later. But what they ended up saying was that, it's going to be on a Kickstarter. They showed you a screenshot of the Dragon Zord himself and said, we got to do a Kickstarter where we need enough backers in order to release it.
Why? That's silly.
And I felt like that was somewhat of a slap in the face, or a little disrespectful to
Kickstarter is for, man. You're a legit company. Like, Kickstarter is for indie people. Like, that's annoying.
So it doesn't make sense to me if you can announce all these other official Power Ranger sets, even to the point where you're kind of just throwing them out there, like you don't even have a plan where it's in order with structure. You just kind of mix the seasons a little bit. It's like, well, why can't you throw the Dragon Zord out there? Because I don't even think a Power Ranger fan would have cared that you released it alongside all the Thunder Zords. I think they just would have wanted it released if people wanted to collect it. Now, with the Playmates Zords, I do consider those not as good, and would recommend you go buy other versions of it, obviously, and then you get the Dragon Zord as well. But I still feel like if you're going to create it, and complete the sets of other lines, you should complete the set of that line. And then also to my point about, well, we were talking about physical media and stuff all last week, this week, and other times, but I have never seen the full 5 not Dragon Zords, but Dino Megazords in the store. I've only seen on a consistent basis 3 out of the 5, and I've only just recently seen the 4th, but the 5th one I still never seen in the store, and that one's going to be the Pterodactyl, the Pink Ranger Zord. So if you are someone who was trying to buy everything and didn't want to go out of your way and pay normal retail prices, it would have taken you a long time to actually complete this thing while still paying $25 each. And then you can be up $100 in your purchase and still miss the last Zord. Now you can choose to go online to get some of this stuff, but from what I've seen when it comes to these Megazords and even just the Zords separates, if you go online, you have to pay a scalper's price. It's not too bad, but the price is typically around $40, which is, $10 to $15 more depending on where you go than what's actually in retail. And I also feel like that's not fair to someone who is actively attempting to buy these things.
I agree.
I have the Tommy Master Morpher set that was done under the Lightning toy line that has all of Tommy's forms from his different Power Ranger sets, right? And then I also went back and bought the Yellow Ranger Morpher at one point, I think from a GameStop online, just because I wanted the original 5 coins, right? So I could have all the different coins along with the Master Morpher coins. And so I have the Lightning Morpher. The reason I bring that up is because recently I decided to buy the Playmates Morpher inside of a Walmart. And it's like, well, if you got these Morphers, why did you buy that one? The only reason I bought it literally is because every time I would go into a Walmart and I would go into the section, it was just sitting there in the store, literally just sitting there, $16 plus tax, 17 some change, right? And I had no reason to get it. Is it a waste of money? Probably. I mean, you spend more on food anyway. But the thing about it is the dynamic of it just sitting on the shelf and me looking at it, pressing the buttons to hear the noises every now and then. I just randomly was like, what does it matter if I just get it? Just go ahead and get it. And sit it down somewhere in your house. Why not? And I did it just because it was there. And I think the power dynamic or the effectiveness of just the item sitting there in the store is so powerful for someone in retail who's trying to sell a product. We've all heard people say, I went into Walmart and only wanted to spend like $30-$40. I came out spending $200. I don't even know how I did it. It's because the stuff is just sitting right there in front of your face. And I'll admit this, if those Thunder Zords are in the store where all of them are right then and there at the same time, there would be a high temptation for me one day to just put them all in my cart. I'm not even gonna hold you up. Even though I wouldn't need them, don't want them really, I would be highly tempted to do it if they were all there at the same time for the Thunder Zords. Even though I want the the $400 super de-duper version. But it's a lost art of just selling your items in the store. I would buy the stuff if it was sitting right there in front of me. And I think that they should do that when it comes to not only the figures, but everything we've been talking about in gaming and stuff. Is going to be a very, very big disservice for them to try to go all digital, because it's really going to be out of sight, out of mind. When it's out of sight, out of mind like that, all you have to do is just randomly live your life where you avoid, and I mean literally avoid YouTube. If you avoid YouTube, there is no other reason for you to even be tempted to buy a PlayStation game or an Xbox game, because they're not going to be in the store if they're going to be all digital. If that's the case, if that happens, it don't matter how much you try to strong arm it, you're not going to have any leverage to advertise to people when the stuff is just not sitting there. When you sitting, you got the money in your pocket. Because everybody got $16 on them. I had the $16 on me, or on a card or whatever, and I'm just walking by. Funny enough, in order to get over there, or in order for me to get to the bathroom inside of a Walmart, I had to like go deep in the middle of the store. They kind of do that. They put it right there deep in the middle of the store, and the toy section was right there. Coming out the bathroom, I just walk right by it. I'm looking right at it. I'm like, they got like 4 or 5 of them just sitting there. I'm like, you know what, man? Let me just grab this morpher. Why not? Why not? Complete waste. If you're really one of those people who's like, oh, you wasted money. Yes, it was a complete waste. But it sat right there. And I just bought it. I never took it out the packet. I just sat it down somewhere. I didn't never feel like I needed to do any of that. But I just wanted it just because it was sitting there on the shelf. So they will be doing a big disservice if they don't make it available for you to get everything on the shelf. Now, with the Playmates, they were doing really well with getting most of the other line out, because I think Rita Repulsa was there, Godar was there. A Dino Megazord where it was like already put together and you couldn't take it apart, that one was there. The Funko Pops was there. But if everything is not there, you're still doing a disservice, where if one thing is being missing, that's no good. I think Lightning's toy line was way better in quality, but nothing was in the store. It was like, not only that, online you couldn't even get it for like a year or so. It's like, how you got something on pre-order for like a year? Like, what is that? Doesn't make no sense. And it was like, how can you blame that on anything? You can't blame that on RAM. You can't blame that on a chip shortage. What can you blame that on? It's like, it was a piece of plastic, and you should have been able to produce it. So yeah, the power of the store is so powerful. We got to go in there just to get eggs and bacon or whatever. So naturally, you're going to walk a few aisles over and see some of that stuff. And if it's sitting there, you will buy it. People will buy it. You have an off day and you just got paid and you got dollars to spend. You will absolutely go in there and just buy something on impulse, I guess. But if we're talking all digital, fight a bot to get something. If you don't respond to an email list right away within 48 hours, you can't get it. Y'all not gonna ever make no money. I'm watching videos right now where people are getting the Steam Deck, or not the Steam Deck, the Steam machine in hand, the people who still wanted it. And then on the back end, I got an email saying I'm on a waiting list. Like, are you kidding me? Like, this thing is dead on arrival to the actual major fan base. How am I on a waiting list? Like, people, and I know somebody would say you're just an armchair analyst or something. Is like, I don't need to know everything about business, but I can understand one thing. The easier you make it available for somebody to buy something, the easier you're going to make money. The more hoops you make somebody have to jump through, the harder it's going to make you to make money. So that's all I got to say on that. All right, real quick, let's talk about the our unofficial sponsor, which I call Epic Games, who gives out free games every week. And sometimes they do 2 games in a week. I think this upcoming week is going to be just 1 game, but that's okay. Remember, you can create any gamer tag that you want that's available, and you don't have to have a credit card or anything set up in order to claim the games. And then once you get the PC variant that you want, you'll be able to log in and play all your titles, right? So the games that they have that's available from right now until July 23rd is Echo Generation Midnight Edition, which might be a complete edition. And then Luto, which I still don't know what that is. And then next week, from July 23rd to July 30th, July is almost over. That is crazy. It's a game called Foretales. I don't know too much about it, but free is free. Just go claim it, check it out at your earliest convenience. And other than that, I don't really have any sales to talk about. I will say still pay attention to Steam. They got a bunch of stuff on their little sale front. Something on my Steam list is $2.99. I'm gonna go back and take a look later and just buy it because it's $2.99. But any sales or anything you might want to mention?
No, I ain't got nothing.
Okay.
Spend full price. I'm no help.
Spend full price. Yeah, so that's that. I do have only a couple more topics that might not be as relevant as people might think. Well, actually, yeah, it's the video game shows, but I do want to mention one more thing. I'm gonna throw a topic in here real quick that just crossed my mind. Let me type it out. Xbox Project Helix. So apparently there has been more news on this Project Helix that's supposed to be their next generation machine. Well, just to set the tone, last week we were talking about their rumors about how they are going to handle physical media. From my understanding, there's supposed to be some sort of disc to digital conversion project or something that they were working on that they said we were going to learn about as early as 2 weeks. Well, 1 week went by, we haven't heard much about it officially. Another week can go by, maybe we will hear something. But the idea that people were saying was that you can basically get the digital version of a game and you still keep the disc, but the second somebody else puts the disc into their system, that exact same disc, then that digital game disappears out of your library and it goes into that next person's library. So it just sounds like it's solving a tiny problem where people don't want to keep removing the disc and adding the disc back into the system itself manually, getting up off the couch and doing that, whatever, trying to find it. But like, if you sell it, I also think that's interesting too. If you sell it to somebody, but they never put it in their system, they just put it on their shelf, technically, digitally, you still own it, right? If they never put it on their system, yeah. I guess. I don't know what's going on with that. But from that to now, we've learned that, or it's rumors, I guess, that Project Helix is actually confirmed. Well, I don't want to say confirmed. We want to wait for Asha Sharma or somebody at Xbox to officially confirm it. But what we're hearing is that the Project Helix is supposed to ship with a disk drive. So the disc to digital thing, or at least the next generation of Xbox, will still allow you to have physical media to an extent. We don't know the gist of it, but based off what the streets is saying. So the streets is saying the PS6 will be all digital, but the Xbox Project Helix will not. That's what the streets are saying. We don't have no official word yet. But yeah, that's the word on the street. Any thoughts on that?
I mean, that's good that it'll still have a disc drive, hopefully. I hope it's not just the case of, like, because most Xbox things are backwards compatible, the disc is only for backwards compatibility and all new games are just digital only. I'm hoping that's not the case, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was.
There's a game that was remade or remastered recently called Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resync. On Xbox, there's this, or I should say Xbox Series X, there's a feature that's a hardware system feature that's called boost mode. It was something that hasn't really been talked about in recent years, but it was talked about heavily when the systems first came out. Boost mode was supposed to take a game that normally is locked to 720p, probably 30 frames per second, a very old generation game, something that might have been 360 or Xbox One, and you could have the disc and literally put it in the machine, and it was going to download a digital version that was an upscale version to match the power compatibility of the Series X. And it was bringing those old games up to 4K and up to 60 frames. The most popular one that everybody gave it credit for was Red Dead Redemption 1. Because Red Dead Redemption 1, they had to resell it on the other systems in order for it to catch up, where if you had the 360 disc, Red Dead Redemption 1 was automatically getting upscale on the Xbox side, and I had that disc. So on the system, it was already doing a lot of upscaling on its own without you having to pay for some sort of remake. I remember getting Assassin's Creed 2 and Assassin's Creed 3 off of eBay for like $2 each. And it was disc versions of those games. When I got the game, the actual cover was in bad shape. The cover where it has like the little GameStop stickers and stuff, it had multiple layers of stickers on there that looked like those games were passed around everywhere. But even as beat up as it was and passed around as it was, I took the disc and dropped it into the Series X, and it still recognized it and downloaded a digital version of it that was like a HD version of it. And it was just like it was just doing that on the system level, which I thought was incredible at the time. And so I think Project Helix is nothing that's really that new. I think it's just going to be, or at least their disc to digital thing is not really new. It's just something that's just a part of what they've been working on a software side anyway, because they were doing these upgrades on those old games this whole time. Their backwards compatibility thing, I think they had like 600 or 700 games on their list where if you had already owned it, it was just going to upgrade it by default. And it was crazy how good it was doing it. And there were people who were like really praising the idea because they were having flashbacks of their childhood, because there were games where the saves from their original Xbox was inside of that xCloud. And then they were getting the 4K versions of those games, and their saves were being synced over on the Xbox side and transferring, so where everything was just seamless. And I think they have
it should be.
I mean, it's a really good advancement in gaming, because I remember being very mad at PlayStation when I found out the PS5 version of Manhunt was its own version. And your transfer didn't carry over. It wasn't an upgrade. You actually had to get the game over and stuff. It just so happened that they gave it away on PS Plus, but I was mad because I was like far into the game and I wanted to continue on my latest hardware, but they didn't have it that way, and I ended up dropping it. And it's not the first one that I've done that with. But yeah, so I'm interested to hear how Project Helix is continuing to be a big part of the next generation. It's still a big thing that they're saying that is also supposed to have a PC side in it in itself, where you can still play PC games, Steam games, all that stuff. So I'd like to see what happens with that. But anyways, the last couple things that we have here, the 3 gaming shows. Did you watch these shows? I put them on the Discord. One of them is called the Convergence Game Showcase. The other one was called the Secret Sauce Showcase, and Indiemania 2026. I like that name, Indiemania. You watch these?
Same. I did watch these. I have to step away for 1 second, so go ahead. And which one are you going to talk about first?
The oldest one. So Convergence Gaming Showcase came first.
I did have some issues with that one that I'll talk about 1 second.
All right. Well, I don't have too much to say on it, but I will say this. They said this showcase was going to feature 40 indie games. I did think that some of the games trailers were a little too short. They were just coming and going, where you didn't really get a chance to actually write down something that you wanted to see, unless you paused it. But there were some, most of them all had a QR code on the screen. So that was something that was new. I will give them some credit for that, because once I realized that, I was like, oh, I could put my phone up to the screen and scan this QR code, which was going to link me to the exact page under Steam, so I can wish list it, basically. So that was a nice touch. But at the same time, outside of the QR code, it was just like the trailer sometimes would be really short. It was like under a minute. It was like blink and it was gone. But all of them. Blink and it was gone. But they had the QR codes, and I thought that was a good thing. The next show for the Convergence show they mentioned is going to be in October. So I'll come back with information on that show. But according to what I have here, I actually did not write down any game, unfortunately. I didn't have
got
anything.
3.
All right, go ahead with your 3.
Now, one of them was Dust Fade, which was, that's been mentioned before. Normal old school hack and slash.
Let me mention that real quick. So, on all 3 shows, actually, I had games that I didn't write down because I saw before across all 3 shows. And so it wasn't no need for me to write it down again. I kind of just was like, I don't know if I want to talk about it, because some of this stuff was at the normal summer showcase, E3-ish type showcase, but that was one of them, the Dust game. But go ahead with the rest.
For the other 2, it was Cosmos Tales, which is like a very cartoony looking Star Fox. You're just in a ship that looked more like a van with like some like lasers on it, and you're just flying through space. But it has a demo out, so I'll check it out at some point. And then the one that caused me some issues, it was a game called, I think, Nail Crown. And that's part of my issues, that I can only say I think that's what they said. So they were doing the whole thing where some of them, they were just playing through the demos to like show the game.
Yeah.
But they didn't show the name of the game at all. There was no cover screen for the game. There was no like image, so you know what it's like called. And there was no like banner on the like screen to say it. And if you look at the taskbar on YouTube, it just said "in this video" the whole time. So it just never showed the name of the game. And when he said it, he was like, all right, we're gonna see some footage now. Well, first of all, if I'm watching multiple things at once, I didn't hear what they're saying. So like I kept looking, I was like, I'm not hearing this game. I rewinded, didn't see a name thing. Figured I'll just rewind after the other shows were done as well. And I did, and he goes, yeah, so we're about to see some footage from Necra. Like, is how he put it. I was like, from what? And I rewinded it, and he was like, yeah, Necra. And I was like, I don't know what he's trying to say. But then the dude played through the game, and it's a various, like, first person. It looked like a Skyrim sort of, like, dungeon crawler, but, like, it looks like it's slightly harder, and you're, like, have a sword and a gun, and you're fighting, like, skeletons. But then afterwards, they're like, all right, yeah, so now it's footage from Nail Crown looking good. And I was like, I think they're saying Nail Crown, but I'm not 100% sure. And this happened before on another show where, because it didn't display the name and it only showed, this one, it actually showed the cover art for it from the previous one, but it was using some super fancy lettering and designed like for the lettering. And I tried looking up the game, I just couldn't find it. So I just kind of forgot about it, because it was just, I don't know what it's called. Anything that I typed on Google, because there was other games that were more popular with a name close to it, it would be like, I think you're talking about this. And even when I typed in the name of the game show and what I thought the game was called, it was like, nah, I think you're talking about this instead. And so I was like, well, I just can't find it. Like, like I just don't know what this is anymore. And I feel like that's the case here, where I didn't re-look up the game. But yeah, I think they said Nail Crown, but it could have been Nail Crowd. I'm pretty sure the first word was Nail. But again, it's pretty sure. So that's my big issue. It's like, if you're gonna do this, make sure I know what games are, at least in the chat. Like, you can make the first pinned comment a timestamp with the name of the game. So like I know what it is.
Yeah, funny enough, if you did not scan the little barcodes, it was, or did not realize that you were supposed to scan the barcode for each one.
I didn't even
They
see those.
didn't.
So there you go.
Yeah, it was. You wouldn't have known because they barely was mentioned in the titles, and it was going by fast. But yeah, each game had a tiny little barcode on the side. I thought that was for something else at first, and then I just was like, let me scan it, see what it does, and it went straight to the game's page that was on the screen. So, but I think they relied on that, and they didn't really tell you in the beginning that was something that they was supposed to do. But
I would also like to point out, because I had to rewind to go see that, for these two hosts, they didn't have the greatest chemistry. It made it awkward. Like there would be like, she'll say something and dude be like, hold on, I gotta just say this. She'd be like, go ahead, and it'll make some reference, but you can tell she don't know the reference at all. Like he didn't. It was like some game where you're like a hacker, and he was just like, you know, I just gotta say this. She was like, yeah, please do. And he was like, you gotta hack the Earth. And she just like looked at him, and it was just like, I'm happy you said it or something. And then later, another dude even bantered, and he was like, yeah, my people over 40 will enjoy that. The other guy was like, I'm be real, I'm over 40 and I didn't watch that movie, so I feel like I'm missing out. But at least he said that or something. She just awkwardly looked at him like, what are you even talking about? And like it was just like, yeah, they needed to banter a little better.
yeah, so that was that show, I guess.
Yeah.
Now the other show, the Secret Sauce Showcase. I don't want to judge too much. I was just kind of laughing. Well, in my head, I was just like, okay, what's going on with these hosts? Because it just seems so out of place for me.
They were doing Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, I believe. They were parodying a movie. Now, you know that movie that Keanu Reeves is in where he acts like extra high and everything, and it's unlike all the other stuff that he does? But anyways, I think that's what these two were parodying. It just was bad.
No, the Secret Sauce, I think you're talking about Indiemania, but the Secret Sauce...
Was it Indiemania? Oh, it was. It was. No, never mind. So, in my screen, because I was watching all three, once the Secret Sauce was done and I lowered it, I moved Indiemania to that spot. My bad.
No, it was just that they had these older people there. It started off with an older guy who was the host.
That's who I noticed. I was like, who is this man?
And it was just like, the first thing I thought of was like, this is the dude who was like at the boardroom table agreeing to all digital or something. Like, I don't know who this is.
Dang, I'm be honest, I looked at it, I was like, who forced a grandpa to be on here? That was my first thought.
Because I wrote this down throughout the show where the first thing I said was older guy. And then later on, I have on here, older guy's wife appears, because there was an older lady at some point.
Oh, didn't even notice that. That's crazy.
And then older guy's older brother appears, because it was even older dude who showed up really later on.
Dang.
And I was just like, it was just a bunch of older people who seemed so out of place. But yeah, they still show some games here and there. But a lot of stuff, just like before, a lot of those hack and slashers that I had already seen before. It was only one other title there that was new, a Metroidvania Souls-like platformer type 2D game. It was called Shade Protocol. That was the only other thing that I had wrote down from this show. Everything else was stuff I've either seen before or just some stuff I didn't care for, and then our older hosts, basically. But that's all I have from that. The Secret Sauce.
Yep. So for here, I had two older games that I saw before, Ghost Vanguard and Decklings. But the new one that I got from it was called Dung Slinger, where you're a dung beetle and you're like tied to your, dung beetles roll their poop into like balls.
Oh my God.
And it was like tied to it like a chain, so they were using it to swing around for like your normal platformer and fight and stuff. But it basically looked like knockoff Hollow Knight. Because Hollow Knight are also bugs, and it was like, we got our own bug game. So it kind of looked like that, but I wrote that one down.
Okay. So yeah, that was that show. And then Indiemania 2026 Showcase. I do like the name of it. That's the one that had the weird skits and stuff to it. I thought the opening of that skip went too long because it was about a good 4 minutes before they showed anything. They just was in that
Yeah.
skit, and then they kept going back to it with the two people in the car, goofing around and stuff. But I did write down one game that I had before until I realized it was on my wish list. I think it was called Ungaland, which you play as
Yes.
a 3D platformer for with a little monkey or whatever. It looks kind of cute, not really too difficult at all. Just a platformer, something on the indie side that's probably going to be more PC focused for a lot of its fan base. Anybody who really loves platformers. I had wrote that down before, but the only other game I had here that was actually new was called Striker Club, which is a soccer game that's free to play. The only reason I really wrote it down is because I don't really have a lot of football-ish games, football soccer games, and I liked the way it looked. It looked really fluent, and it said it was free to play, so I guess you can just kind of play soccer online, and it's available right now if anybody wants it. So I kind of just added it to my library, and then that was it. What you got?
So, from the older stuff that I already had, Ungaland, and also the Dead is Disco update. That's a game I'm actually going to be buying probably, I think, this week. Dead is Disco. And then Box Night still looks good. But from the other stuff, I actually did get a chunk of new thing. Well, by chunk, I mean like 5. Kashmir, The
That's a good
Last
amount.
Reverie. That's like the first one that they showed. It was like a 3D platformer action game, but like the girl looked like she's cursed. So she kept turning into like some skeleton thing. Lorne, which was another cool, like just basic looking hack and slash game. Sacked, which was showed right after. You're like a little blob dude and you're fighting skeletons and everything. And like a more, again, hack and slash, like 3D platformer. Later, this game called Aaron Shore, which is like Dungeons and Dragons classic inspired like MMO design. So it's like your MMO RPG, but like not actually like an MMO where you're like paying to keep playing. It's like more just you can do co-op or solo, run, do dungeons, and very D&D inspired. That looked right up my alley. And then Anima, Song from the Abyss. It was like one of the last ones that I grabbed that looked good.
Okay. Well, I think that's the show. I do want to mention, because we were talking about physical media a lot. I think I am going to find a way to get some sort of collector's set for Attack on Titan just to watch the whole, just to have the whole thing. And then I may be getting, I think I am going to get their new game because it has all of the whole series in one whenever that comes out. And then I may actually get rid of the old one since it wasn't really working on PS5. So yeah, physical media is still alive and well for me. I do want to get all that stuff physical. I don't usually get TV series and stuff, but I wanted to watch it in its full resolution, full everything on the disc. So, but yeah, that's it for the show. We will come back next week. Hopefully we'll get some more updates. I was listening to somebody who interviewed a mom and pop store when it came to talking about the end of physical media. He felt a little bit unfazed. He was more annoyed with the fact that everybody kept hitting him up. But one key thing that he mentioned was that Sony gave 2 years in advance for a reason, because they want to see pretty much how the people will respond, and I actually do believe that. And they want to also see what the competition will probably do. And what we're hearing is the competition is still going to have a disc drive. So if that's the case, we might see them pivot a little bit, depending on, you know, how the market is and everything. But only time will tell.
I wouldn't be surprised if they do guaranteed like money makers like the Insomniac games, things like that, God of War. I feel like maybe they'll still have disc and they'll try and force everything else digital.
Yeah, well, we'll see. At the end of the day, emulation is king. All right, like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll catch you next week. Peace.